The past and the future of the Earth's oldest trees. About 4,500 years ago, not long after the completion of the Great Pyramids of Giza, a seed of Pinus longaiva, the Great Basin bristlecone pine, landed on a steep slope in what are now known as the White Mountains in eastern California. The seed may have traveled there on a gust of wind. Its flight aided by wing-like, might have come from a bird. Most seedlings die within a year. The mortality rate is 99%. The survivors are sometimes growing in the shadow of a fallen tree. Okay, so the first two paragraphs, we're introduced to a seed that 4,500 years ago, against all odds, implanted itself in the mountains in eastern California and began to grow into a bristlecone pine. In fact, a forest ultimately grew there. And we know they begin to grow by sort of getting nutrients from other trees that die and don't make it there. Paragraph 3. Coast redwoods and giant sequoias, California's gargantuan world record-holding trees, can grow 50 feet or more in their first 20 years. Bristlecones rise agonizingly slowly. After a few hundred years, they're only 40 or 50 feet in height, whereas the redwoods takes 20 years. Many species travel or live, for hundreds of years. A smaller but not inconsiderable number, including the sequoias, certain yews, oaks, survive for thousands of years. Once a bristlecone is established in the unforgiving conditions of the White Mountains, it can last almost indefinitely, because few other plant species can handle the dry, cold climate. As for insects, the wood is so dense the mountain pine beetles and other pests can rarely burrow their way into it. Okay. So paragraphs 3 and 4 are telling us that these bristlecone pines grow really, really slowly. And paragraph 4 says they can last almost forever, and they have very few, they don't live in a very forgiving environment and, don't have bugs and things that would eat it. Again, paragraph 5 starts off telling us how the changes in growth is very low. And therefore, I guess the bristlecone pine is a good resource for sort of tracking tree ring dating, what's going on in the environment. So as they get old, they start to get contorted and wraith-like. There's a 4,500-year-old tree that clings to life on a tourist path in the bristlecone pine forest. And the trunk gets hulky, stripped of bark, it marbleizes. All told, the tree is an unprepossessing specimen. Most people just march right past it without even noticing. No two super elderly trees look alike, so as they get contorted, I guess they get individualized in their appearance. And although some may fear climate change, they've been around for thousands and thousands of years and survived that long. They've seen catastrophes. It's not likely any new catastrophe will affect them soon. Okay, so what do we get out of this passage? Main idea is about this bristlecone pine that grows for 4,500 years. They compare it to the amount of time the beginning of the ancient pyramids of Giza were built to today. And it starts off with a seed that lands on the slope in eastern California. Most of them died, but this one took hold, and it probably fed off some of the dead trees. And it grows very, very slowly, only 50 feet over hundreds of years. And they aren't the only trees that live hundreds of years, or even thousands possibly, but they do live almost indefinitely once they take root. There aren't a lot of things that can stop it, not bugs, not fires, and not many trees are in that area because it's pretty unforgiving. They're good candidates for ring dating, it looks like, and when they get old, they kind of become contorted, wraith-like. They fossilize, the trunk's a marble hulk stripped of bark, and no true trees look alike. There's some worry of climate change, but that's it. So we have a sense of the progression of ideas by paragraph. Looks like it's a third-person informative essay. I think we're ready to answer the questions.